turn the little color, and it's on. So we're together playing the second session of a two-parter of Lord Scurlock by John Harper. Excellent game, and we have some fantastic players, and I'll have them introduce themselves in just a moment. First off, I want to say that this is part of the Gauntlet community. As such, we have the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, which is there to protect all of us, to make sure we're all having fun. We also have the X card on the table. If anything is, if we get into a problem area or things are going, this isn't adding to my fun, feel free to put an X up, put something in the chat, say something to me. We'll do a little rewind. I'll make sure I know where the problem was, and we'll go off and continue along. Please feel free to use it. It is here for you guys. It is here for me, just to make sure that we're having the most fun possible. And with Lord Scurlock, I don't know if it's going to delve into horribly, horribly dark places, but it is a game that, we're dealing with demons. We're dealing with some pretty nasty folks, so things can get a little bloody along the way. And we do have a kind of overarching story with some drugs and stuff like that. I'm going to, first, I think I'm going to have everybody introduce who they're playing and tell a little bit about them. And then I'll do a little recap of what we did last time. So I'm going to start from my left and go right. And so that's you, Kyle. Would you like to introduce your character?
Yeah, I'm playing Jedmund. So he's the longtime servant of the house to the late Lord Scurlock. And he is now here with all the funeral stuff wrapping up and all of Lord Scurlock's sons, and trying to, I guess his goals and everything is to try to make sure the Scurlock house gets back into a good position and away from its dark past, and to tap into some of the underworld stuff that surrounds them and get some money and retire and step out of all this craziness.
Excellent. And I want to point out your special ability, because it's something everybody should think about. If you'd like to tell that to everyone real quick.
Yeah, so special ability is Mentor. So once per refresh, if I give any of you guys advice and you follow through on it, you get 1 dice forward and to accomplish it, and you get an experience.
You get an experience.
Oh, I get an experience. Right. You guys get a dice, I get an experience.
Correct.
Good deal.
Yes, cool. Robert, if you would like to introduce your character, please, sir.
Sure thing. Okay, I am playing Bastian Scurlock. Bastian Scurlock is a Hold on a second. Sorry, Java update. Okay, so I'm playing Bastian Scurlock. Bastian Scurlock is a curiosity from the Wild Blue. I am basically an automaton or some sort of scientific magical construct created by Lord Scurlock himself. Jump started with a bit of Lord Scurlock's own intellect and thought patterns. So I consider myself to be his true heir, because I am born directly from his intellect. Bastian has a special ability of he is a living machine of clockwork and electroplasm. He cannot die, so if I'm destroyed, I can be recreated in Lord Scurlock's secret mechanism laboratory.
Excellent. Excellent. And Michael, would you like to introduce your character, please, sir?
Yes, I'm Tertius Scurlock, the outcast son of our late Lord Scurlock. I left home at a young age and have, since then been, a sky pirate, on the high sky seas, I guess. I've got a little bit of a, I haven't admitted it to myself yet, but I'm here for 2 reasons. One of them, the one that I am explicit about, is to kind of pick up on some of those criminal connections, that Scurlock had, so I can kind of bolster my own budding criminal empire potentially. The unspoken reason is that I do, on some level, desire recognition as the true-born heir of Lord Scurlock, and so that I may also become Lord Scurlock. My special ability, I bear Scurlock blood, which binds me to an ancient pact with the demon Satara, who I've only heard of so far.
Excellent, excellent. All right, and Spencer, would you like to introduce your character?
Yeah, so I am playing as Aris Scurlock, the true heir of the Scurlock name, and basically highly educated sorcerer, and also just kind of like a refined nobleman. My primary objective is to leverage the demon pact that my father had, and use that to become the next lord.
Fantastic. All right. And so I'm going to very quickly go over a little bit of what we did before. We had our funeral, and afterwards, Jetman had presented to the Scurlock heirs that the house itself was in considerable debt. You have an enormous tax bill, which will take most of your funds should you pay it. You have several people who seem to be implying that, well, we have Magistrate Holpine, who has wanted to just come in for a moment or two and look over a few deeds that are supposed to be mine. Your dear father did play poorly at the cards, and I could just come through the study. I'll pick them up. It'll be no trouble at all. You had heard also from the Viceroy Skeen that he had been protecting Lord Scurlock from some rather nefarious deeds, which included the disappearance of women, something that you had discovered a little more about as you'd gone. You had heard from a Mr. Plum that was a representative of an underworld figure called Cudger. And Cudger was in the area around you and considered it his territory, and up until now, Lord Scurlock had been paying protection. You were a little behind in that protection money, and they have implied that something bad can happen. Mighty pretty mansion you got here. Be a shame if something happened to it, sort of thing. We had gone and had a conversation about how some of these things were to be handled, and there'd been a discussion on perhaps alleviating some of these things and going over how Magistrate Volpine had been involved a little bit with Lord Scurlock's deeds. Baston had found a repository, a safe, holding a book and some deeds. These deeds had been to low worth places, but of them there were 3 orphanages. And in a moment of connecting with Lord Scurlock's memories, Baston had realized that Volpine had helped to set up the ownership of these orphanages. We had down in the underneath the manor, there is a hidden access to the canals and onto the lake. Jedman has for many, many years assisted Lord Scurlock as young ladies were brought down and helped in disposing of the bodies as these young ladies were killed, but in each case they had a look of ecstasy. They were as though transformed into joy. And had heard a woman's voice singing behind this door at that time. We then went on to have poor Aris begin to get dreams of a woman's voice. And we heard the name Satara, a demon. Baston had passed off the book, which Aris was reading through and discovering that there was a pact with this demon that the Scurlock family had made, giving them control of her, and that now a Scurlock should come down to her, to this door. And it requires, we know, because Jedman found the signet ring of the Scurlocks, a ring to open the door, but it also requires a Lord Scurlock to do so. We had found out as Tertius had gone out into the it wasn't like he went to the awful areas. He went to an upscale drug den and had talked with some of Lord Scurlock's old companions, old acquaintances, who spoke of Scurlock in his Black Lotus-induced dreams. Speaking of two women, one name was Satara, the other was Anakin Wyeth, who through various means and from Lord Scurlock's lips himself, Tertius is aware was Aris's real mother. An artist who had been making a portrait of Lord Scurlock had arrived at the house and told Tertius that she would be happy to return their money because a certain Lord Wyeth indeed wanted the painting. Tertius would have none of that, and instead the painting is to be delivered that afternoon and paid for. And Lord Wyeth was informed, sent word that if he would care to come and visit, that the family would be happy to receive him, show him the painting, and perhaps discuss selling it. And I believe that may be a quick recap of first time. Anyone have something they'd like to add or question on that?
It's pretty much as I recall it.
All right.
Real quick question, though. Do we have a roll for the party room?
Yes, we do. Let me put that up here real quick. And I have set it up as I did before. It's actually the same one, but so honestly, Michael set it up from before, and it has all of our dice pools already in it. So you'll see there. You'll also see where I wrote myself a note on it. Jedman, had you used any of your dice pool? Do you remember?
Yeah, I had used one of my dice pool.
Okay.
So I should be at 5, I think.
Yes. So I'm going to pull one of yours off there and delete it. Keep in mind for whenever we'd like to do a refresh, because we didn't have that last time. If you want to have a refresh, the best ways to do it are to get someone and have a moment where you have a deep thought or a little conversation that kind of is building that character, have a flashback moment, and that'll give you that opportunity to refresh your dice pool. You can do that, right now I don't think people have used a ton, but as you get lower, you'll want to do that. And I want to do just a real quick refresh of the system. You will be pulling dice pools down using either one side or the other of your characteristics, and then they have subsets below them, and then a third set below each of those. You get a die for each thing you can pull in, and so far we've not had anyone fail an outright dice roll. But if you ever fail a dice roll, if you used your own dice, they go away. I'm sorry, if you fail a roll and you've used dice from your pool, you get to get them back. Anytime you succeed at a die, at a roll, your pool die will go off to the side until a refresh. So you get to keep them if you fail. And you can always help people by taking dice from your pool and adding it to their roll. You just come up with a how I'm helping along with them, and you can hand them one die. All right? So I think we're going to start off. We had downstairs Jedman, Baston, and Tertius, who had been in the kitchen and had just had the painter, Patrice Savoy, leave and had been discussing this painting, where Tertius had said, don't worry. We're going to make plenty of money off of this. Meanwhile, upstairs, Aris was poring over this book and learning its dark secrets. So, Aris, I want to find out. We're going to kind of work through this afternoon what we would like to be doing. So, Aris, how long are you staying there with the book? Are you going to stay up there and try and read it all the way through, or?
So I have kind of a mechanical thing that might play into the story. I got 5 experience. So does that mean I can learn something, right?
It does. What you do is you can now mark off your 5 XP, and what you're able to do there is you can add on. You can pick up any of those on your character sheet. Things that are in brackets. Those are things that you can learn to add on to them. I also gave you guys in the event page, if you might have saw, where I put up a whole list of new keys and secrets and traits. There's a lot of them. But certainly for a while, it might benefit you to use the ones they have. You can see you have a special ability that can open up as well.
Yeah, so I think what I'll do is I'll read through it until I gain the power of arcane sight. And then, so I suppose it'll probably take me most of the morning, especially working on an empty stomach. But maybe around noon, I'll be done with that.
All right. So you're studying over it, and it first off, just reading through it is charging you. You can feel the power coming from it, and it had all those little trinket type things that were placed in the book. You could feel yourself being connected to everything that's being written in here. And
he doesn't have the trinkets. I did not give those to him. He would notice that they're missing.
Oh. Okay. Then you will see impressions where the book has closed around things that they're no longer there, but you get to see where they were imprinted on the pages.
Okay.
But you're feeling this power, this energy flowing through you. It awakens something in you as you begin to actually see the power flow from it. And it details how a Scurlock many generations ago, at least many, many years ago, made this pact with Satara, the Lady of the Water, this demon of the deep seas and of the abyss of the depths. According to what you're reading, a service was done for Satara, an enormous service, which allowed her to walk on the land. And in return, she gave her service to the Lord Scurlock as long as there is a Lord Scurlock.
Okay. Shoot. Well, so I'll read that. And that's the only condition that sets the demon free that's listed there, is that the Scurlock line ends.
If the Scurlock line ends, or the Lord Scurlock could free her.
Oh, okay. Okay. So with that, I'll head downstairs and try and figure out what other people are up to today. I do want to be guided down to the demon's chamber, but I need Jedman for that. So
okay. Downstairs, the three of you had been discussing the painting, but Tertius, you had a fairly long night out. What are you intending to do as this morning is getting late and heading towards noon?
Well, at some point, I want to go meet up with this Cadre character. I also do feel like I'm sure that somewhere in between the early morning and the afternoon, I might have snoozed for a couple hours, caught a little bit of a rest. But I think I'd be interested in possibly even dragging Jedmund out there with me. I don't know, when he's got time for it, but I want to learn more about Codger, and I'm also trying to impress Jedmund a bit. I also wouldn't want to be here. I wouldn't want to miss being here when what's her name comes back with the painting.
Right. Okay. So you're catching a few winks through the late morning and heading into afternoon. Baston, what are you doing? No need for sleep for you.
Sorry. Okay. I think I'm going to first. I have two things I'd like to do this morning. The very first thing is I plan to go investigate Uncle Alward's chambers to see what, if anything, he has procured, and maybe encounter him to see how he can be dealt with.
All right.
After that, okay, we'll do that first. So
yeah, you begin heading through the house and off to one of the wings. Uncle Albert has he's stayed at the house a good many times when he's been down on his luck, and he's a man who's down on his luck quite a lot. So you're aware of where he normally stays. He does have his own little townhouse here in the city, but you haven't heard of him leaving, so you're willing to bet he's still lurking around. And as you reach his bedroom, you can hear inside rattling about and movement.
Okay, I will knock on the door. My arm will extend and thunk, thunk, thunk.
Oh, yeah. Door opens. Oh, Baston. How nice to see you, my dear boy.
Gears will spin, and that center spotlight of an eye will kind of shift to look at him, and I'll say, "Greetings, Uncle Alward. I have neglected to issue my condolences for the loss of your brother. I wish to inquire as to your state of being."
Well, thank you. Yes. Oh, it was very sad, very sad. Now, he wasn't a young man anymore, so I can't say it was a surprise, but it does make one think of one's mortality, does it? Well,
as he's speaking, I'm going to just walk past him into his room.
Yeah.
And just kind of scan the room real quick for anything that looks like he might have pilfered that could be missed, per se.
Looking around, you can see there's a lot of stuff in this room that probably doesn't really belong here. You can see that there's a stack of several paintings up against the wall. You can see that several of the more attractive and perhaps expensive bric-a-brac has managed to come in and be on his shelves and on his table. And you see also that he has several boxes and appears to be putting stuff in it as you had arrived.
Uncle Alward, I would like you to accompany me. I have a mission to attend, and I would prefer to have your assistance in these matters in these days to come. Should you prove useful, we can see that you are rewarded. Should you continue on the path of pilfering the family legacy...
Pilfering? Well, Baston, I'm more than happy to help you however I can. We're family, but all of this, of course, these are just little things that I know my dear brother would have always wanted me to have. That painting over there, he often said, "You seem to like it. One of these days you should have it."
Well, your brother, our father, did not mention this in his formal declarations of distribution. However, my brothers and I are executors to the will under or with the assistance of Jedmund, and that which you are due, we will see to it that is yours. For now, let us be off, and I'm going to take him with me as I head towards town.
Towards town? All right. He's, all right, well, yes, of course. And he moves along with you.
All right, I'll pass the scene to the next person.
All right. Jedmund, what are you doing this early or late morning, early afternoon?
Yeah, I think Jedmund, since the whole house is understaffed, he's doing a bit of everything. He's running around the whole house, doing this and that. At some point, he probably sneaks off to his study where like no one can see him, and like goofs off and maybe naps for a bit. Noticing that Uncle Albert has left the house, he probably goes through the game that they're used to of Albert stealing stuff and then him sneaking into his room and putting it all back, and the old
All
thing
right. Why don't we have you roll real quick on our Scurlock Manor Curiosities chart here. And so roll 4 dice and just read them across left to right.
Okay, 4. All right. We've got a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 6.
All right. That's very good. You, as you're taking these things that Albert had pulled together, you find amongst them something that you haven't seen in a very long time. It's a collection. Let's see. I didn't see your roll. Where did it go? What was it again? I'm so sorry.
It was a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 6.
So 3. Okay. As you're looking over it, there is a stack of these wood carvings, wood prints, actually. So they're pictures. A collection of, they're quite ancient, and really worth a great deal, probably as much as 18 crowns to a collector. But they all show these rituals, seemingly arcane rituals. And around the outside border are all of these unusual symbols that you don't really recognize. But they all seem to be of like the continuation, as you flip through them, of a ritual of several people standing and they're holding some of these odd-looking little objects. And you can see in the pictures as something forms up amidst them, and it is a beautiful woman with long hair. But you remember them because there would be times when the Lord Scurlock would look at them, stare at them, and he once said to you, "It is a wonder, isn't it? It's a wonder what a Scurlock can do if they try hard enough."
Yeah, I think upon seeing that, it brings back in Jedmund lots of unpleasant memories, and like that whole dark side of the Scurlocks that terrifies him quite reasonably.
You should mark a condition coming off of that.
Okay.
And to refresh us kind of on what conditions are, you have them in the center of your character sheet, and there isn't exactly a mechanical thing that goes with them. They're to help you kind of role play and get down, look to them to say, okay, so I know I have this going on with me. When you refresh, you have a chance to pull one off, but it's something to kind of drive you along in your role play. What you think you'd like to take?
Let's go with maybe
it's not exhaustive. If there's something you think would work, you can even suggest that.
Sure. I think right now I'll go with drained. I think it brings back a lot of those memories, and Jedmund's just like he's still going about his duties, but he's it's worn him down a little bit.
I gotcha. And so as you go taking all of these items that collecting, paintings back up on the wall. It sort of hits you, this circle just continuing on. These poor boys following in their father's dark footsteps there. And as afternoon begins, as it gets towards afternoon, Tertius, you have come out of your room from your catnap since you see Jedman. He's hanging up a picture on the wall there in the hall. You looking at him, he looks a little downcast.
Why so blue, Jedman? Still mourning the loss of your great friend, my dear father. What's his name? I had it written down before. Edlund. Still mourning over Edlund.
Yeah, no. It's nothing, Tertius. It's just all the events of the past few days. I guess it's just been a long few days, but it's all good. Nothing to worry about.
Well, it's still surprising to me that we have to be kept so busy in these times. You would think that all of these vultures would give us at least a week before they swooped in to pick over our father's carcass, but no, not even before the funeral is through do they come begging for scraps from his table.
Terrible.
You said you didn't know anything of this Codger fellow, did you?
Codger, well, I mean, of course I know of Codger. He's a well-known person. Let's just say that it's not someone I would want to be known to associate with.
Well, I know Edmund paid his little visit, so I think I'm gonna be heading that way to, tell him to back off a little bit and see if I can't cut a little deal. Keep an eye out for that painter woman. I mean, like I said before, I think 1 gold piece is such a small price to pay for something that Lord Wyeth is so desirous of.
Right. Quite wise, young Scurlock.
And, I'm going to head out from there. I was thinking about taking Jedman, but I've decided since then that I'm going to sneak in. So I've decided against bringing him along to meet Codger.
All right. You were told by Jedman earlier about where Codger has his lair, and it's honestly not very far from the manor, and an easy walk. And so you set off in the afternoon sun towards this lair. Aris, you have spent the morning and early afternoon having looked through this book, and have strolled out, both curiosity and hunger probably at your heels.
Yeah, so I'll also seek out Jedmund first for some food, and then to go down below.
All right, Jedman. Where does he find you, Jedman?
Maybe he finds me in the office, thinking that no one would see me. Probably feet up on the desk and eyes closed.
Jedmund, I didn't know things had become so relaxed around here. You ran a tight ship.
Jedmund sits up like really, really quickly and like is really embarrassed by the whole thing. And he's like, "Oh no, just resting my eyes."
Don't worry. You look exhausted. Speaking of which, I haven't had much to eat. Is there anything for lunch?
Oh, yes, right away. Jedmund will make his way to the kitchen and, start preparing food as he's used to doing.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't usually. I usually kind of sit out in the dining area, but I think I'll follow him into the kitchen and try and chat him up about the. Yeah. So, Jedmund, I like I said last night, I really am grateful for everything you've done for me, for Dad. Um, I think we need to. I think we need to go and investigate where these young women have gone. You said it was down below the house. It's somewhere I've never been.
Oh, Eris, you know, some things are just they're left best unturned. I don't think we need to bother with that. The past is the past, and you know, Jedmund will try to find things to make him like seem busy and try to like avoid this conversation.
Look so busy that you can't talk. It's just that we're being blackmailed 5 crowns a month plus a fistful up front. The magistrate has a hold on the claim that I have to being the lord of my house. It's something I can't bear. Let's sit down. You join me for lunch. Let's sit down. We'll have a nice. What are you making?
He's probably making some pasta.
Pasta.
Nice tomato sauce, some nice cheese on top.
Let's sit down. We'll have a good meal and then at least take a peek, if you'd humor me.
We'll see what happens, but he'll sit down and he'll eat.
All right.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think this might be another time for me to try and do another head-to-head roll with Jedmund and use my refined skill to talk him into it.
All right then. Set up. We'll start with your pool and let you build it.
Let's see. So I've got noble, refined, influence, and compose, and etiquette. So that makes 7.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. And do you wish to add any from your pool?
Can I wait till I see what he gets?
You can certainly see what he has for a pool first.
Sure,
Jedmund,
sure.
what are you going to add for your pool?
So I think probably servant, attentive and savvy. They could probably both work, but then I'll dive into attentive, and like assess and soothe could probably make sense.
Okay. Secrets.
Secrets, yeah.
All right. Anything else you think?
Yeah, maybe. Inconspicuous. That.
If you're trying
Maybe.
to make it so that you're, he, in a way of, kind of, I'm not, I can't do that. I'm just insignificant. You shouldn't be, that sort of thing. I guess you could try that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. That gives you 10. Do you have another?
No, I think that probably those are the ones that make the most sense, I think.
All right. Aris, are we spending some pool on that?
Yeah, I've got to, because I don't know where this chamber is. I've gotta. Okay. I think I'll spend 3, so that'll match me at 10.
All right. Are you spending any, Jedmund?
Jedman really doesn't want Eris to go into this. But I mean, for story's sake, I guess it could go either way. So I could just do a 10 versus 10 and see what happens.
All right. So we're doing an even up roll. Are you're using physical, Spencer? Okay, nope. So
Yeah, I've got physical.
So Kyle, you can go right ahead and put your 10 die in and see how it goes. If there's any, I'm not seeing any up there at the moment, so if you don't need to clear them.
Okay, I'll roll 10 new red ones. So I just ignore my pool.
Oh, that's right. There's those orange up there. I'll get rid of those orange ones. Oh, so yes. So you can roll any 10, any color you'd like. They'll pop up at the top.
Sure. I'll just keep it red like my others.
Ooh. A lot of fives.
That's...
Looks like 5 success, 5 evens.
Yep.
All right. And Aris. Oh, okay. How many is that for you?
So 6 successes there.
Ah. Jedman, he has managed. Now it is he succeeded, so that takes him up to a fair success. He beat you with 1 extra.
Mm-hmm.
So he's convinced you, but you can certainly, it's not an enormous one. You can equivocate some, or how would you address this?
Okay, Eris. I suppose you are, a potentially the heir to this house, and you should know the workings and all the passages. So yes, I'll take you down there, but please heed my advice. You don't want to dive too deep down this rabbit hole. We'll just go take a quick peek. I'll just show you where it is, but then we should leave right away, and you should probably concern yourselves with the matters at hand and forget about all this.
If that's what you say.
And so after finishing a nice meal, the two of you begin heading deeper into the house. Meanwhile, Baston, you and Uncle Alwyn have...
We've arrived at the orphanage.
Oh.
I will stride forward to the main door and request to see Marm Grundy.
Of course, sir. They're looking at you kind of wide-eyed. There aren't very many automaton people allowed in the city anymore, and the kids are kind of running up and going, "Holy cow! Look at there!" But this one steps back, and a moment or two later, a rather large woman, got a big apron on. She's late middle ages. She looks a little harried, as you would expect a woman who's dealing with dozens upon dozens of orphans. Well, what can I do for you, sir?
I say, Marm Grundy. And I actually, the light in my eye shifts from purple to red, and my voice goes from being sort of the mechanical version of Lord Scurlock to actually more of his intoned voice. So I sound much more human in my pronunciation. It is good to see you. I would like to speak to you in private about matters that concern us both. This is my uncle. What's his name again?
Alwyn.
Alwyn. He will be assisting me in matters as I take over certain interests from my father.
Well, blimey, you sound just like him. Yes, follow me. And you see that Alward is looking at you as he goes, "Baston, what is all this about?"
I say, "Come with me, Alwyn. We have much to discuss." the family is in jeopardy, we will tend to these matters. And we go inside, and I'm a little like startled by all the children playing around me. This is not something that I am used to, or how to deal with these creepy crawly little things. And I sort of skittishly, work my way around them. And we get into the office and say, Marm Grundy. Before we get down to serious business, I would like to discuss what you may know of Viceroy Skeen and Lord Alpine or Holpline's involvement in our business. Well, be advised, and and I am using my imposing and presence, to full effect here on her. I'm not trying to be threatening, but just up in her face. You know what I mean?
Well, sir, the magistrate Holpine, he's always worked with with Lord Scurlock. He's often helped when we've needed funds, and the Viceroy is a fine gentleman. I'm sure he's certainly an important man. I don't know him myself, but the Lord Scurlock and Holpine often would come, and occasionally they would even find placement for some of our harder to place, poor unfortunates.
They would take deliveries similar to that which I have in the past, or that which my father has in the past. Very good, very good. Do you have any records of these transactions?
Well, she reaches back and pulls out. It's not like a filing cabinet. It's more like one of those, like a secretary. It's got the wooden drawers in it, and she's pulling out. She says, well, here, and she lays down a sheaf of paper. These are all the ones that the Lord Scurlock personally found employment for. Each of these fine young ladies, he went off, found a position for them.
Oh, yes, of course, absolutely. And the next delivery is scheduled for when?
Delivery. He would
Excuse me. I sometimes the memories of my father interact with my own in ways that cause me to have difficulty with the language. I may have misspoke. The next interview.
Well, we have traditionally, he's managed to find a young lady a position every 2 months. Almost like clockwork. Clockwork.
Yes, of course. Every 2 months. And the last one was when? My memory seems to fade on that point.
Last month, sir.
Last month.
About, she looks at the paper here, about 40 days.
40 days. So I would like to make sure that the next delivery is on schedule. Jasmine knows how to do the preparation, and my brother knows how to, or by then we'll know how to continue the interview process. As for Viceroy Skeen, it is very important that business runs smoothly. We wish to see this orphanage not only do as well as it has, we want to see them thrive. And I cannot stand for threats to my family, my businesses, or my interest, of which your orphanage, your personage, and all of those fine individuals living here are of great interest. So while I consider Lord Skeen or Viceroy Skeen and Lord Holpine to be dear friends that should be dealt with delicately, I wish to also make sure I take every step to ensure no harm can be done to any of those things which I hold dear. I hope you understand, dear lady.
Of course, and anything you can do for the orphanage would be greatly helpful. Oh, these poor unfortunate souls.
Yes, indeed. We always do everything that we can. See to it that the next scheduled interview takes place on purpose or on schedule. And when you have another interview for Viceroy Skeen, please make sure that I am informed. I will send my father-in-law periodically to pass along information and to receive information from you. My appearance is highly visible.
You are noticeable, sir.
I hope you understand if I do not visit personally in the future. However, I did want to take this opportunity to meet you and extend my house.
Thank you, sir. You and your family have been most gracious and ever so generous. And you can see that because of that voice, she's almost, I mean, it's causing her to almost think of you as Lord Scurlock.
Yeah.
And she has to kind of catch herself in it. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
I look nothing like him, but I'm like kind of playing that up with the voice thing, and also I seem to be also shifting between it, and it's almost like part of it's an act and part of it's kind of something else, you know. So okay, I will conclude the business here and then head back towards the manor.
Howard's like, what was all of that about, Baston?
Well, your brother had many dealings across the kingdom or the empire, and he has made many enemies. Some of those wish to do harm to our house. It is my intention to ensure that those who wish to do harm to our kinship will fail. I wish to use you to a greater advantage than your brother ever did. With service comes reward.
I like what you're having to say, Baston. I think that I've always been underappreciated just because I'm not a Scurlock.
Yes. So we will then head back toward that.
As you head off. Tertius, you have made your way over, strolling fairly casually to where this area is. It's not the best neighborhood. It's it's kind of a blue-collar neighborhood, and there are local stores and local bars for that sort of thing. But the address that Jedman had given you is a large kind of warehouse there. With a storefront on attached to it, which it has a sign of the top of oddities and amusements.
Well, if Codger's any real criminal, I'm sure he'll have a back way in as well. I'd like to see if I can find his, whatever secret entrance he may have hidden away for smuggling or other purposes, and see if I can sneak in there and see if I can catch him by surprise, maybe.
All right, then. So as you work around the back, you do see there are a couple of guys that are milling around in the alley behind this place. So you're going to have to be a little stealthy, it sounds like. So why don't we build you up a dice pool to see about sneaking into this place?
All right. Should I go ahead and clear the ones that are up on front of us?
Go ahead and clear the top ends.
Yeah. So let's clear these. Clear all dice from the room. No, delete select. Those buttons are a little confusing. I can see how you did that before. All right. So I'm going off of Sky Pirate, Scoundrel, Stealth for 2, potentially lockpicking, and Smuggler, since I'm finding another entrance to here.
I think all of those work. Would you care to add something from your pool? You're at 6 now.
I will add 2 from the pool up here. So I guess I'll re-roll those first, and then I'll throw in six more. Re-roll selected, 5 and a 4, and then for 6 more of these. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Yeah.
All right. And did you pull up your dice when you rolled, or did you pull up Jedman's?
Oh, I pulled up poor Jedman's. Oh no.
You could keep your 5 and 4, but
I'll keep the 5 and the 4, but I'll put Jedman's dice back.
can-
Yeah.
yeah, pull up 2 of yours. So that is a very good roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is an incredible roll. So I would say that you're having little problem getting around these guys. Would you like to describe out a little bit of your trickery there?
Oh, sure. I'll do. I've mastered the art of sneaking around, especially through these kind of back alleyways, and I know a couple, weird little chirps and bird calls, which directed the right way can produce an echo that can be very deceiving. So, I kind of, I'm crouching behind some boxes and I let out this, call they think is coming from the completely opposite direction. And while their backs are turned, I'm able to slip in pretty easily.
All right. Sliding in behind them and entering into the back of this warehouse. It is, it's a big open space warehouse. And from this back door, as you come in, you're kind of looking onto where you see a good dozen or so people are in the process of boxing some things up, or lifting and toting stuff around, and you get the distinct smell of one of the lower end drugs. It is like a derivative of the Black Lotus. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the crack compared to cocaine of the Black Lotus. Mm-hmm. And it's a nasty chemically smell. But you can hear them down there talking amongst themselves, and you hear a screechy, loud voice of a man. Well, you see him. Not exactly a man. He is about 6 foot tall, but is green and has knobby little warts all over him. And he's going, "Get this delivery ready. All of this has to be uptown. I've got product to move, and you lazy sons of bitches aren't going to cost me any money. You hear me? Move your asses." And you hear them go, "Yes, Codger. We hear you, Codger." As they start moving these boxes off, and till there's only one man and Cudger standing there, as the guy, the one beside him, goes, "Mr. Cudger, we've been hearing several problems with the with the protection, sir. I was wanting to get a few more of the boys and head down to the other block. Seems like a couple of store owners need to realize how bad things can get." He's like, "Fine. Take Brick and Rocco. Show them a little bit of the old tender love and care." And that guy heads out as you see Cudger go over and reach down towards one of these boxes and put one of his knobby little claws into it and pull out a black powder and snort it up.
So I'll step out kind of behind him and go, "Oh, Cudger, my old friend, surely you can do better than that." And I say that as I'm packing up my little pipe right there of what he can probably tell you from this distance is some very fine Black Lotus. And I'll take a puff and I go, "Now, our mutual friend, what's his name? Was it our mutual friend Plum came, and paid a very nice visit to, my dear father's funeral. But, I figured that it would be best to conduct our business personally."
"Tertius Scurlock, you old bastard.
Come on.
You won't have much pull around these parts, but I've heard about you bringing in product to the city, not paying your taxes to good, upstanding lords like me."
Not paying my taxes? Oh, is that your business then? I've dealt with enough tax collectors in my time, I'll tell you, and I haven't paid a dime to any of them. So if your business is taxes, then I don't know if we have, much to talk about. But personally, I think your business is rather different from that.
Well, I keep me claws in a lot of different things, Tertius. One of them is that your family owes me a lot of money.
Owes you the money for what, though? What was Scurlock's dealings with you precisely? What was Edlin's dealings with you precisely?
Well, for a good while, we had a certain quid pro quo going on. He would do a few favors for me, and I do favors for him. Keep an eye out on the mansion. He stopped doing me favors. Now he owes like everybody else in the neighborhood. I'm better than a fire brigade from keeping fires to burning down your house.
And I'm sure you are. Look, my apologies. Lord Edlund grew a little bit, well, he lost some of his faculties and stopped paying so much attention to his business as his years wore on. But, I would be interested in potentially rekindling the mutually beneficial relationship that you once had with him. What kinds of favors, was Scurlock able to help you with?
Well, he provided me useful recruits. He had an inn at the orphanages. Talented young lads. They'd be shifted my way so I could teach them a gainful employment. A few of the prettier ones, they'd come on and become street birds for me. I always thought this was a lovely arrangement. I never minded that occasionally I had to dispose of his little tendencies. Quite a bad man he was, your father.
Well, I'm sure he had some criminal dealings, but what do you judge so poor about his character?
I don't see much use in killing a girl when she's still got useful years in her. And yet, sure as shit is slick, that man. Bodies. Every year or so, I'd have to take one for him, dump it off. Pretty little girls they were. Not sure what he did with them, but they sure seemed to like it.
That's kind of new information for me, so I'm taken aback for a second. And I go, well, I can assure you that's one side of his legacy that I would see no use in continuing. That said, though, we still have, as far as I know, some relationship to those orphanages. If you want recruits, that's something that could well be arranged. What I would hope to achieve, though, is that if we take up that relationship, that once we'll continually provide you with recruits, and in doing so, you'll forgive us any debt Scurlock owed to you, and any protection money would be, taken care of.
I think we can get to that arrangement, Tertius, and you still out flying the Wild Blue?
Oh, yeah. If you're looking for a supply of something a little bit better than this dirty business, then might be able to hook you up soon.
Well, if you'll agree, whenever you bring back into the city, you come to Old Garger first.
I certainly will, and if I have any other dirty business I need taken care of, I hope that you'll be able to lend a hand as well.
I like helping rich bad boys, don't you worry. Keeps me feeling young.
Well then, Cudger, I'm glad to have made your acquaintance.
He nods to you, and he will show you out the door after shaking your hand. He has a scaly, cold handshake.
All right.
Back up we've had. I think we'll go and do a. We've had kind of a scene rotation for everyone. Anybody feel like they've hit a key in their last one? Robert, how do you feel like you popped a key in your
yeah, I definitely
dealings
feel
with
like,
Alward and then in the orphanage?
yeah, I feel like I'm following the Dark Legacy pretty well here. I'm making steps to try to coax two of my one brother and a servant down the path even further. I've set up connections in the orphanage to continue that mining operation.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to play up the key of the machine, but I don't feel like I really accomplished anything with it there. I mean, I acted it out, but I didn't quite. I wasn't flustered by it. Let's see, what does it say here?
When you don't fully comprehend human feelings and subtleties.
Well, maybe I did pull that off. Turn this key when the stiff machine nature interferes with your ability to deal with and understand organic beings. Yeah, I think I might have pulled that off.
I think you might have pulled that off too, with that deliveries talking about people and stuff like that.
Yeah, so 2?
2.
Okay, that gives me a total of 6.
Beautiful. So look through and you can pick up something yourself there.
And that would be one of the bracketed things. I unbracket.
You can unbracket one of those things. You have a special ability that hasn't been unlocked yet, or you could delve into that that huge list I have of other traits and stuff and add those in.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Aris, how did during your scene so far with Jedman and there, do you think you've turned a key there?
I think the Dark Legacy, if in nothing else, keeping Jedmund in a place he doesn't want to be, forcing him to do dirty work, and then also I'd like to say key of refinement, just because, like, I sat down and I ate with him, but I won't even make food. Like, what a snob.
I like both of those. Would you like to say, do you feel like you would give a point as well to Jedman from one of those? Kind of in that, maybe that refinement?
Yeah, for the refinement, definitely, yeah.
Okay. So Jedman, you'll pick up one from that. And
Cool.
Do you feel like you turned any of your keys?
Well, there was the servitude.
Yep.
I didn't want to, but I did give in to Eris and show him what he wanted. So that could be one, and he would potentially get one from that too.
So you want to give him one from that? All right. So that would be another for you, Aris, and that's one more for you there, Jedman. I hope we can hit your key of ruin in this next scene too. I'd like for that to have happen when it comes up here in a minute.
Cool.
All right, and
so that puts me at 6, so I'll unlock something at 5.
That is correct.
So I'll take the old timer special ability.
Oh, cool. That is a nice one.
Yeah.
And Michael, feel like any keys got turned for Tertius?
Yeah, the only one I want to push that I think I pushed is Key of the Dark Legacy. But I would even say that I pushed that to the 2 XP level, which is going into danger because of your key by sneaking in alone into Kudger's lair, even though I would have been outnumbered and surrounded as a result of that.
I can go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the other ones I particularly hit. I haven't been very defensive and suspicious so far.
We'll give you a chance soon.
Yeah.
You've been dealing with the underground. You don't have to act suspicious with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you know what they're up to. No need for suspicions.
That pushed me to
All
6
right.
as well. So
All
figure
right,
out
so you can pick something. And I'm going to have us do our Aris and Jedman scene, and then I think we'll take our first break. So, Jedman, as you lead Aris through the house, back to where that secret bookshelf is, you turn it. Aris, you've never seen this before. as you head down the stairs, and below, that smell of must and mildew and water and, stale smell from down below, and it's humid here. Jedwin, you know the way, and as you reach that little walkway heading towards that door, what are you doing?
I think maybe Jedmund is like, he knows he has to give Aris something, but maybe like, he knows where the activity with Satara happened, and he like maybe tries to turn a corner and like head him off somewhere else, tries to divert him, send him on a wild goose chase, kind of, maybe.
Okay. So you heading down this way, and you kind of turn off the main, kind of heading towards the canals out of it. But Aris, you can see this glow of magic down the tunnel that he's turned away from.
Sure. I think I'm going to play his game. I'll let him think that he's tricked me. I'll let him think that he's really not leading me on. Because I'm coming down here claiming that I'm trying to figure out where the bodies went. But I know that there's more than that down here. So I'm spending a lot of my energy focusing on not looking too excited. Maybe pretending to be disgusted by the smell or the dankness, and not show my real feelings.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jedwin, perhaps because you're trying so hard to keep him away from that door, you find that you've led him down the same path that you've often had to take those bodies, off to the little dock on the edge of the canals, where rough men would take them and row away with them.
Yeah. Awful place, I don't know why your father liked to spend time down here, or yeah, it's an awful place. It's dank, smells bad.
It seems like a perfect place to go unnoticed. Even as far as the mansion goes, this is a place I've never been to. Maybe this is where the girls disappeared to.
Yeah, at that, yeah, I think Jedmund goes like completely pale, and says like, maybe like braces himself on like a rock ledge, and is like, yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that. Could be, I suppose. But yeah, enough of this damn place.
I was gonna say you're looking rather faint. I'm gonna just take a look-see around. Maybe check for clues. You can go on up. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Don't stay too long. This is there's bad energy around this place. And can I get you anything? Maybe I'll go prepare you some food or something.
I think I'll be good for a while. Thank you.
Jedmund, do you head off?
Yeah, I think Jedmund's a little torn. He doesn't want to leave Aris down here, but I also think he wants to get the hell out of here as fast as he can. So yeah, reluctantly.
As you head back through, kind of occasionally glancing back, thinking of this man that you've known since childhood, that you've left behind, you enter that main passageway and turn back towards the stairs, and you hear that voice behind you, that woman's voice. Jedmund, you've done so well. You continue to serve even after the master has left. I am so pleased with you, Jedman. Perhaps soon I can show you just how much I appreciate all you've done.
I think with that, Jedman, he like darts up the stairs. You know that feeling when you're going up the stairs and you feel like there's something right behind you, and he's just like getting up those stairs as fast as he can and slams the door. And yeah.
All right. You find yourself a little shaking at the top of the stairs. While downstairs, Aris, you hear Jedman's move away.
I'll linger for a moment to be sure he's gone. I'm very, what's the right word? Nervous about this. But then I'll follow towards the, that arcane light that I could perceive and come upon the door and try and speak to Satara. Satara, I'm here. I'll put my hand just up on the door.
As you touch it, there's like a flash, like a static electricity flash that touches you. Aris, you have come to me. I am so pleased. I've been waiting for you.
I'm here to do as my father did. I'd like to help you, and in turn, you help strengthen this house.
Oh, you can be so much greater than your father, Aris. I have such high hopes for you. Now that you have come, you need only open the door. The key. You must find the key. But I will be with you now. I can talk with you. I will be there at your shoulder. I will guide you. You should be the Lord Scurlock.
Can I volunteer to take a what do they call it? The
Condition?
Yeah, condition.
Absolutely.
I think it would be kind of neat if he just completely collapsed here, and I guess drained would fit.
Okay.
Yeah. So he'll collapse from the surge of power. It's even greater than I expected. It's especially with the studying and such that I did this morning. I wasn't prepared for it. The collapse.
And as you slide into darkness, you feel this warmth wrapping around you, like sliding into a bath, and you can almost feel a light kiss on your cheek as you rest. I think we'll take our first break. All righty. Before we do that, though, hang on. Let me see real quick. Jedmund, did you feel like you turned a key there?
Yeah, I think that probably turned the key of ruin. He got pretty overwhelmed by all that, and he ran away.
I do as well. Aris, do you feel like you turned a key there?
The arcane arts. I don't think I really qualify for a dark legacy because it's just kind of following through with what I set up last scene.
Yeah, I think
but
you're
I'll
right
take
there.
The arcane knowledge.
All righty. So both of y'all mark that down. And we'll take 5 minutes and be back at 9:30.
See you in 5.
Thanks.
Cool.
Hello again.
Hello again.
So you said you run some games for the Gauntlet too?
I have not run for the Gauntlet. I run a Monster of the Week game. I actually haven't run it since before Christmas, but I do one out of my house. I have wanted
Oh,
to run for Gauntlet. I just haven't really got around to doing it. And I stopped participating in the Discord a while ago. I just kind of got really busy with work and everything, but
yeah.
and that tends to distract me quite a bit during the day.
Yeah,
So-
wow. Yeah, it's an important thing. What
Yeah,
do you do
but
for work?
I'm a software engineer,
Ooh, fun.
so
That's stuff
do-
I'd never pretend to understand, but I know people who do it and enjoy it. So
yeah, it's interesting puzzles to solve, every day. So I like that. It's never the same day twice.
sure.
But what's your favorite game?
I'm really enjoying this one. I just got in a Dungeon World too. That's been pretty good. Honestly, I'm just getting into all these indie games, loving them.
Yeah,
Some
I'm
different
surprised at how
different
much I
things
like
I've
this
worked.
game. This is really interesting. I mean, the system, the mechanics of it, and everything are really cool.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Dungeon World and Monster of the Week. So, but I think I like Dungeon World better, but it's so D&D that I like Monster of the Week. Is I play that more because it's more different than what I'm used to playing. If that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
it kind of breaks up the monotony.
Yeah, or it's like, I'm not repeating my childhood, so to speak,
Yeah.
I've got to say that I've gotten to where rather than Dungeon World, I almost enjoy playing Fellowship more.
Fellowship. I haven't tried that.
I haven't tried that one.
It's very quest story. It's basically playing out those Tad Williams Tolkien stories, and it's got a lot of that fantasy stuff. But there's something about it that I like just a little bit better than Dungeon World. But I mean, I love Dungeon World too. I think it's a nifty game.
Yeah.
But I've been a big kick on Fellowship here lately.
Well, I tend to modify the hell out of anything I run anyway, so it's not like I'm playing any set system.
Mm-hmm.
I use everything as a guideline.
Alrighty then, let's scoot on back into our little world here, and I think I'm going to go with you, Tertius, having returned home. You have made this deal, probably feeling pretty good about yourself. Well, I should ask you: are you heading home from there? Or are you doing something different?
Yeah, I'm eager to get back home at this point. I'm a little bit troubled by what I've heard about these bodies, and I'd be interested to talk with a couple of the others that have been around here to see if they know anything about this.
Okay. As you're arriving back, you can see that there's a small, kind of like a hansom cab, the horse and the little cab. And you can see that, what to do her name? The artist lady with your painting. There we are. There we go.
Patrice Savoy.
That's it. And as she's getting out, carrying a pretty large bundle, and as she sees you, she's, Lord Tertius.
Oh, Patrice, so good to see you. This is the painting, I assume?
Yes, indeed. I'm very proud of it. Your father was not the easiest subject. Not likes to sit still. No.
You just have to give him some of his pipe. That'll get him to sit still for you.
Oh, yes, sir. Well, but I have to say, Lord Wyeth was not exactly pleased when I told him that I wasn't able to sell it to him. I did mention that you would be more than happy to have him as a guest to view it. He was most displeased.
Well, it's not his painting, is it? Like I said, he can come over and view it, and perhaps we could come to some sort of deal. But it seems like he was trying to pull something there. I don't know. What do you think? Why do you think he's so interested in this here painting?
I can't imagine. As far as I'd always known, and certainly, no offense, the way he spoke about your father, I didn't think he liked him very much.
Well,
But
he certainly had his enemies, yes.
here, let me show you as the two of you go into the house. Jedman, you are downstairs, having collected yourself back together, and as you see Tertius and this woman coming in with her bundle, she puts it onto the kitchen table, and she says, "Would you care to open it? As I said, there are still 2 crowns for its delivery."
Oh, certainly, and I pocketed the 2 crowns earlier in case this situation arose. And I'll, let's see the painting.
Alrighty. As she unties the string around it and pulls it open, you see your father looking back at you, and she is an amazing artist. Unlike the often glazed eyes you had seen in him so many, for the last few years of drugs and drink, there is that piercing stare instead. That malevolent glare that drove you from the house in the first place. He's sitting in his study in a chair. He has a stick, which he is leaning on. She captured the frailty of his body, but there's no doubt of the strength of that look and behind that cruel face. Jedman, as you look at it, you've seen Lord Scurlock as he would come in and out of being in a haze to being more himself in these last few years. You recognize that room. You know it so well. Except there's a painting behind him of a woman, golden-haired and beautiful. Mrs. Savoy has done almost as much detail into that painting of the woman behind him as she has to Lord Scurlock himself. But you've never seen that painting in the study. That's not what's there. But you do recognize that face from when you were much younger, early in Lord Scurlock's employ. And that is Annika Wyeth. There's no doubt in your mind.
I think Jedman would turn to Miss Savoy and mention the painting, that portrait of the Wyeth girl.
Wyeth girl? Is
that
it
portrait.
really? Well, Lord Scurlock was most insistent that I be as careful as possible of the surroundings. As you'll see, I was very careful with his dictation set that's sitting on here on his desk, and I did all of the wrinkles of the leather of the chair. But he was most interested in me capturing that portrait.
I've never seen that portrait in that room. It was there when you painted him?
Yes. Every time he sat, he would always make sure to mention, catch everything, especially the painting.
I can't imagine that, at least in this, he's not in the best of health. I can't imagine he hoisted that thing up there himself. I mean, you don't know anything about this, Jedman?
No, that room, there's never been a portrait. A portrait there?
Well, if he was moving it around, I mean, he must have kept it somewhere in that room, I imagine. I mean, I can't picture him hauling it across the house. And if he did, I'm sure you would have noticed. I mean, maybe he's got it hidden up there. In any case, it's a striking portrait. You've captured more of Edmund than I thought remained at this stage in his life. And I hand her the 2
thank
coins.
You. Oh, thank you, young Lord Scurlock. And, Jedman, I thank you both, and I certainly sympathize. Your father, Lord Scurlock, was, I cannot say exactly a friendly man, but he was a man, and it's a shame he's gone. And she will head out. She will, as she's leaving, go say to you, I appreciate this consignment so very much, and again, I'm almost, I'm terribly sorry I brought Mr. Wyeth into this at all.
Oh, don't worry. Lord Wyeth inserted himself into this, as from what I can tell.
Well, yes.
He didn't say whether he'd be around, did he? Or was he so perturbed that do you think he's going to stop by?
I'm not sure, but I will say he certainly was extremely interested in procuring it. It would not surprise me if he did come by and inquire. Did you say that perhaps the lady in the picture was a relation of his?
That's what Jedmund says here, and I believe that it's best to keep these private matters private, don't you think, Jedmund?
Yes, you're probably right, Tertius. And who knows? I've seen a lot of faces in my day, and it could have been anyone.
And so as she leaves, as she's leaving, Bastion, you and Uncle Albert are coming up, and Albert will wave at her. And
well, actually,
yes, sir. Oh, sorry.
If you don't mind, I'd like to modify that slightly. Before we left the center of town, I would have given Uncle Albert or Alwyn a mission. I wanted him to go keep an eye on the. I'll say, Uncle Alwyn, I have your first mission. I wish you to keep a low profile and go keep an eye on Viceroy Viceroy Skeen's manor. Try to get to know some of his staff. Keep a low profile. Do not reveal your name. If you see anything suspicious, send one of the orphans to inform me of what is going on. Do not fail me, and you will be rewarded.
Well, this is ever so exciting. I almost never do anything like this. Certainly, a mission.
Okay, and then so that was before I left town. So now I'm riding, or I'm coming up to the lane as I see the lady, the painting lady, leave, and I say, brother, Grummet.
Well, hang on one moment. As you're coming in,
okay,
Jedmund, I do want to say, as we're talking about this woman. You, again, it's from your youth that you remember her. She was Lord Wyeth's wife. And she disappeared. Lord Wyeth was very upset some 50 years ago. You remember that it was quite a stir in the city because they looked for her, and she seemed to have disappeared. Rumors since then, you, knowing the way noble families act, have said that she traveled, she went off on a journey, and that she never returned. But that's probably just the family trying to keep face. As you remember at the time, she seemed to simply disappear.
Whew. All right.
And so that's when you walk in, Bastion.
Okay, so I was like, brother, Jedmund, what transpires?
Well, the painting of Lord Scurlock has been, or the painting of Edlund has been dropped off, and you'll see it bears quite a striking resemblance to him. We've been told that Lord Wyeth, as I mentioned earlier, is very interested in this painting, and I'm a little bit curious as to why.
This is the girl. Just a quick question: the girl in the painting is the painter is
Savoy.
Anika Wyatt. Is
No, the painter is Patrice Savoy.
ah
The lady in the painting is Annika Wyeth.
so it's related to the person who wants to buy it.
Right, and I believe Tertius has some extra information beyond that as well.
Yeah. So, well, I will leave you to this, brother. And I stride on the end of the house, heading towards the secret. What's it called? The secret automation chamber. The basically my chamber is a machinist laboratory.
Gotcha. Off you go.
Off I go.
He certainly seems to be in a hurry, don't you think, Jedmund? He's been very busy these past 2 days.
He has indeed. Maybe we should keep an eye on him and
Well, you know, I'm just
keep us
I'm
all on
just-
the same page.
I'm just curious because I was hoping to spend some time with my dear brother and that robot that's Edlin so faithfully crafted. You know, I'm here so very rarely. I would like to spend some quality time with these two, but they seem like they're so very busy. I mean, you haven't seen Aris, have you?
Well, I saw him earlier. We shared a meal. I'm not sure where he is now, but I'm sure he'll turn up.
On that note, Aris, you're having these sweet dreams as you kind of come back to yourself to the smell of stale water and mold.
Yeah, so I'll stand up, brush myself off. I guess that doesn't really work with the wet. And I will make my way up the spiral steps. I feel like I'm too weak to search for the key now. I'm gonna take some time and rest. Are they they're just in the front lobby, so I probably would go past them.
Yeah, they're right there towards the front, so yes, you certainly can.
Sure. So maybe I'll walk in as Tertius is complaining about not getting to see me so much, and what is that, brother? You'd like to enjoy my company? How about a game of billiards?
Oh, certainly. You look a little haggard. I mean, you could use. By now, I'm packing up my pipe again. It's been a while. You look like you could use a puff of this. I mean, you look like you've seen a ghost or something.
Never touch this stuff. You know it.
Never touch what? Ghosts?
The poison. I mean, the Black Lotus. Jedmund, would you be so kind as to make me a tonic, a strong one, please?
Yes, certainly.
I thought you avoided poisons, or was it spirits you avoided?
Oh, always so clever. Come on, let's play a game.
I'll take a tonic as well, Jedmund. Yes, if he's drinking, then why shouldn't I? What would you like to wager on?
I don't know. Nothing too important. I'd say something that's not too valuable to you is perhaps the lordship of the house.
Well, that's something that I'm not sure you would rightfully possess either. So, I would hate to gamble something that, neither of us could really claim to. I don't know.
Although I think we can both agree that we both deserve it more than the robot boy.
Yes, boy is being generous. The robot. I mean, he's certainly. Is he nice? I suppose he is. I don't know what goes on with that thing. I've been gone for so long. I thought it was a bit uncanny, but I mean, I still find Edlin's voice a little jarring. At least there aren't two of them.
Oh, I hate it too. Shoot. I think.
In any case, I won't give up my. Well, in any case, I wouldn't gamble. Lord Scurlock's name on this one.
How about this? You win. I'll take a hit of your Black Lotus. I win, and you'll let me show you something new I learned about the house.
Agreed. That sounds like a win-win to Tertius. So what's the contest? Do we decide on billiards?
Yeah, billiards. I that was just the first thing top of my head. Something would be in a fancy house.
How about I'm trying to think if we should bring in a role for this and what the best way to do it is. They're probably yeah.
So I was trying to. I don't think the scene has to, like the actual game has to be that consequential. I was trying to frame it like I knew he obviously wouldn't bet his lordship on a game, right? I was trying to just poke him with that, and then we'll probably end up doing both no matter the result of the game anyway. Is kind of how I
very good. Very good. And so you play a couple of games. The pipe is passed, and as Aris wins one of these games, how do you want to present to him this little trip you want him to take, Aris?
I think I'll let him do it on his own. I think I'll show him the passageway, and then so I'll take him up to the passage. I'll pull the book, and I'll say, I think this might be where the bodies had gone. There's a canal. You know me, I don't like to get my hands dirty.
You know about the bodies?
Yeah, didn't we all discuss that at the beginning?
I was not there for that scene. I was off doing my own business, but I found out about it recently enough. So that's why I said, you know about the bodies too?
Okay, wait.
I think we all did discuss it. We all did discuss it.
Table talk. I did tell him that that the Viceroy is blackmailing us for disappearing women. I guess we didn't explicitly say that they were dead.
Yeah, I think we'd had you did discuss that he was blackmailing, but I think that you had been informed of the kind of most of the time they don't. He brings the girls back once he's through with him, sort of thing. And
so maybe I'll.
You seem to know a little bit more than I thought you did. So I'm like, what do you know about the bodies?
Are you guys like completely stoned while you're doing this?
A little bit, yeah.
Can't you tell with how back and forth?
I think at some point I did, before we went up, I asked Jedmund to bring the painting upstairs because I would like to keep it off of the ground floor in case anybody comes prying and trying to lay a hold of it. I am very concerned about the painting.
Sure.
All right. So
how do you reply?
To answer your question, all I know is that women came in and nobody saw them go. And there may be a way through this passage that they got out.
Can I wander up at this point, or is this area somewhere separate from the mechanical lab?
It's a little distance.
Okay, then I won't interject myself here.
Okay, and I do want to find out what you're doing in the mechanical lab. Okay, so you've told him you think that this is where they might have been sent through. How do you reply, Tertius?
Well, I admit that I've got enough morbid curiosity about this that I'll have to go take a look. I mean, there was a docu mention. I mean, that could be useful for future reference anyway, even if we're hopefully not disposing of any more bodies now, right, Aris?
Of course not. And on that, I'm just going to walk out of the room and leave him alone.
Excellent. Jedman, Tertius had said you should probably take this painting somewhere else. Where are you taking it, and what are you doing?
So I think what Edmund's going to do at this point, he's going to take the painting up to like not his private quarters, but like a room that nobody really goes to, and he's going to put it away in safekeeping. And that would have been the same place where he had hidden the key earlier. And he's very worried about the key and Aris and all of that at this point. So I think he's going to take it out of hiding. And like, he's very not happy about it, but he feels like the safest place for it is on his person. So he puts it on a lanyard and puts it around his neck. And it like makes contact with his skin and is very cold and like makes his whole body shudder, and it's very unpleasant.
You also have a locket on a chain, right? Your character sheet has a necklace and locket with a small portrait on it. So as this signet ring kind of taps against it, what is this locket? Who is the portrait within?
Maybe the portrait, to stay on this same theme, was one of the ladies that Lord Scurlock had brought from the orphanage, who had hung around for a little while, who Edmund had been very like taken with, and she hung around for a little while until unpleasantness happened. But yeah, he always kept that locket kind of. I guess he didn't like to think about it too much, but it was there.
As it taps against it, you think of her for a moment, her laugh, her smile. Up in the mechanical lab, what are you doing, Bastion?
Okay, so during the course of the day, not during any of the main scenes, but Bastion has been having intermittent flashbacks to Lord Scurlock's memories, various transient things, but one thing came to my attention is a device in the lab that will allow me to make modifications to my construction. So I became aware of this device and how to insert it into my apparatus and to make connections. So I will rifle through the lab because I haven't been here in years. I just returned home from, an extended voyage, right? So I'm curious as to what else might be in the lab that's different. So I'm going to spend a little time searching around, and then I'm going to integrate this modification into myself, and that unlocks my special ability.
Excellent.
And I'm going to say at this point, the module that will be enabled is a new sensor of etheric connection will be enabled.
Nice.
This moment. And then between, I guess, what is it when you arrest or whatever? I can swap which thing I have unlocked at any given or during.
Right. Whenever we do a refresh, and we're probably coming up after we, get to.
Right.
We're getting to that end of that scene with you as you do these modifications. You're looking around, and it seems as though Lord Scurlock had given up his so much of what he had used to do. The building, the creating, in his old age, it had left him. But as you're looking around, you do open up a cabinet. And inside that cabinet, you are startled to see something that it could be a sister to you. It is a female of your design. It is inactive, but it is there.
curious. I open the cabinet, I scan, from head to toe, and then I close the door and turn around to continue my work. It's interesting that come back to, but Bastion is not interested in mating at the moment, but maybe that will start to surface as we go forward. He's still really not dealing well with humanity and all those emotional things.
Okay.
So I'm going to integrate my thing. I've done a search of the lab. Guess there's no opportunity to discuss anything here. So what he's going to do after he completes this operation is go look for his brothers. I think it is time to have a discussion.
Okay. I think we've had a good, probably a chunk scene there. Anybody feel like they turned a key in any of these last sets here? Jedman, did any of those turn in the last set of scenes we did?
I'm not sure that any of them turned. I guess the closest is like him trying to hide the key. That didn't like turn someone away from the Dark Legacy, but that's what he's shooting for. He did like small servitude stuff, but nothing really of consequence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think probably we haven't had a full turn. We could probably see some stuff coming up soon though.
Sure. Yeah.
Michael, did you feel like Tertius turned anything there?
Yeah. The two that I'm looking at, and I took an addition. I didn't push this one, but I took the Key of the Charming Scoundrel as well. But the two that I'm looking at is getting defensive and suspicious. When I kind of clamped down that discussion about Lady Wyeth, and I was like, it's better not to reveal those things. The other one that makes sense to me is indulging the vice, which I would also invoke Aras on because I managed to involve him in that.
I think that both those do click, and you get one Aras for him giving you one there. I think that on that suspicion thing as well, you kind of brought up along with your brother there of, what's going on with this metal brother of ours? And that's another little turn on that.
Yeah.
How about you, Aris? Did you feel like you turned the key?
No, not this time. Although I did want to see if our billiard scene would count as a refresh.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. That chance for the two of you to have a brotherly moment. You give a quick then you, and if you would like to do so as well, Tertius, have us just a moment or two. What do you say to each other that kind of rebuilds a little bond or makes you think back of the good times that there were here at the house?
I think probably over billiards, we talked a little bit about when we were boys, because until we were teenagers and he kind of was kicked out completely, we really did have fun. We would pretend to be pirates and sorcerers, and now we really are. And so I think that's how we reconnected.
And I think that we have more in common than we sort of let on. Like I've got the sort of refined and roguish side that I put on now and then, and I know that he's actually more of a rascal than he really acts like.
Sure.
Nice.
And of course the connection of not trusting the metal thing.
Yeah.
All right, so the two of you can take a refresh scene if you'd like. And to kind of, because we're here at the end of this scene, is there a refresh moment that either you, Jedman, or you, Bastion, would like to hit in there? Bastion, you just tagged up, so you may not. You could, immediately have that back. It's not like you're dropping it or anything.
Also, I could basically treat my tag up as a refresh, because I still have my misfire hanging around. That could have been repaired in the thing, because I don't really have an interaction that I can play off of here.
Well, again, they don't have to. You can pull a little bit of a flashback. How about a moment where you think of you and Lord Scurlock here
Okay.
in the lab?
Okay, that's a
What
good
was
idea.
that?
Okay,
Give us that
so
scene.
this was the scene where I was being sent on my most recent mission. I was in the middle of some interesting experiments myself at the time, and I was unenthusiastic about being away for such a long voyage. And but Lord Scurlock was very, very serious about my going on this mission, and basically, now that I'm filtering back, I can sort of see bits of his memory, and that he wanted me. My mission was a wild herring. He wanted me out of the castle so that I would not be aware of, what he was doing with this ritual with these young women. And then I have this sudden realization that how can I have that memory? How can I have that memory when the memories I have from him were implanted at my startup? I knew about those, but how can I have a memory that existed after that? So I'm a little bit confused,
Nice.
and then I go back, and the misfire starts to snap again, and I get a little bit more in depth crossfire of his thoughts to my thoughts.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I like that. So take that as a refresh, and again, it kind of plays with that idea of how far is Lord Scurlock into your brain.
Yep.
Jedman, is there a moment in here that you can kind of refresh yourself?
Yeah. So I think probably as I was taking the portrait up and grabbing the key, I probably walked past the mechanics lab where Bastien was, and kind of stepped in as he was like seeing the female counterpart of him. And yeah, it was just kind of a nice moment for Jedman, kind of bringing him back to younger days with Lord Scurlock, back when he would help him, with his mechanics stuff and his tinkering. And with Bastion there and his voice, it's like, it brought him right back to years ago. And it was.
Jedman, would you say that, this was obviously a happier time when you think of Lord Scurlock being active.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that, first off, that this thing with these girls didn't start till, 10 years ago, about the time that Bastion would have left? Before then, though, do you think Lord Scurlock you liked him?
Yeah. No, I think that they had good times. I think so. Yeah, I think it was like a descent, like a spiral downwards.
Did it start with his wife's disappearance, or did it start before that?
His wife died shortly after Tertius was born, and so has been gone a while. The Wyeth woman disappeared long before Tertius was born. Well, not long, but roughly the same time Aris was born. So that was the big split. So the descent happened well after these women had left his life.
Right.
I think that's really nice there, Jedman. I think that's a beautiful kind of scene where you look back to see the way things used to be. It kind of alleviates a little that gloom that's descended on this place.
Mm-hmm.
That's lovely.
Yeah,
take a refresh thing.
Cool.
And I think also when we get to ask the other player a question. I don't have one in mind for Aris yet, but I'm going to be thinking about that.
That is right.
Character.
Each player asks the other a question about their character. Say how the answers are revealed in the scene, either explicitly or in conversation or subtly. Refreshment scenes can also be flashbacks as well. So, yeah, it would be something for the two of you, Aris, And Tertius, so you can think about that. And, again, it's asking about your character. So it's, it can be a little meta up. Or it can be deeply in character as well. And Arshu would get to do the same. I suppose Bastion and Jedman, since in a way this ended up being a shared scene for the two of you, you could do that as well.
Cool.
I've got an idea for a question.
All righty.
I guess I'd probably ask him about his sky pirating. I don't know if he's probably kind of like an entrepreneur. I wanted to get the ideas of how vast his network really is.
That's a good question.
He really controls.
Right. And I've got, I would say, look, I've got a pretty vast range of contacts, but it's stronger the further you get from here. Kind of the further you go out into the blue, the more, the better sort of known and the better connected I am. Down here, I'm a little bit out of touch with the scene around town. I've got a few connections here and there, and I've certainly got some notoriety that I can use to my advantage, but I don't really have, around, what's the name of the planet/city? Whatever
you're
it
in
is.
the city of Elysium.
At Elysium, I don't have quite as much pull, but from what I let on, I'm like, yeah, I mean, out there, I've got my crew of pirates, and they all look up to me as like the boss, and I've got plenty of contacts outside of that.
Is the ship yours? Is that your ship that you sail around on?
Well, I stole it at one point, but it has been mine for quite a while. It's mine at this point.
And have you let the crew go? Are they here on shore leave and the ship is at port? Or did they let you off and they're off doing things?
So I do the Reaver ability eventually. I think that they've got some business that they're attending to in a nearby settlement somewhere.
Okay. So they're earning a little cash while you're here for the funeral.
Right. I told them that I would be here for a while because I had some business to take care of.
Cool. Excellent question there, Spencer. All right. Anyone else have a question they feel like they want to ask now? You could hold it a minute certainly till the end of our session. We'd want to get it out.
And I've got one. I think that I asked him this directly. What were you doing or thinking as Edlin slowly lost his faculties and as he kind of slowly lost control?
How much do I want to let on? I was thinking ambitiously, honestly. I was more interested in how much of a burden it was for him to be the Lord Scurlock, and then also wondering what it would be like when I became the Lord Scurlock.
Nice.
All right.
That's straightforward. Jedman or Bastion, do either of you have a question?
I think I could come up with one here for Jedman. So what we discovered last time in my visions is that these young ladies would be delivered to the estate in the middle of night under a cloak of darkness, and then your job would have been to feed them a sumptuous meal while Lord Scurlock would play music on the Victorola. You would then wash them and dress them in finery. And from your revelation, this sometimes could go on for a period. It was not just maybe one night. They may be here for a while, at which time they would be led down to this ritual, which we have not actually seen yet. All that we know is that they experience some form of euphoria. And I have some ideas about that. But how did Jedman get through that experience? How does he deal with these young ladies, knowing that their fate is all but sealed. And yet you're still trying to instill in this period, your mission is to give them pleasure, to give them, hope for the future. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think probably the first time it happened, it like caught Jedman off guard. Like all he knew was that this lady came and like they were taking care of her and she was a guest. And then like this horrible thing happened that he was like very involved with. And then he was kind of like stuck in that guilt spiral of like, he knew it was going to happen again, but like he was like so implicated at this point that like he couldn't turn and walk away. Like he knew that, like he was so implicated in the whole thing. And so, yeah, as time went on, it became like more blurred and he became more detached.
Yeah. So was he doing things more or less, or continuing the process more or less out of loyalty or more or less out of fear? I'm sorry, that was two questions, but yeah.
Well, I think it was like very much a mix of both. Like he felt very loyal to Lord Scurlock because of like all the good times and all the stuff they'd been through together. But also like this deep fear of like this all coming to surface and like his part in it being, brought out as well.
Excellent. Kyle, do you have a question for Bastion? Again, that sounds like an out of character question that you answered there. I can't imagine that you just told that to Bastion.
Right. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. I agree. I was seeing this as something that was revealed to himself. I do not know this in character.
Right. Yeah, I'm sort of dancing around how to put it into words what I want to get from Bastion.
You want to wait a moment and formulate it, or?
Well, and the thing is, you can ask me something like I did of you. You can ask me something that you wouldn't know from the scene, but it will be revealed to the group. And then having that player knowledge, you can then orchestrate later, trying to uncover that knowledge. Yeah.
Right. Maybe give me a couple of minutes. I'll turn some gears on that.
Keep it as a hold, kind of, if you want to put it in PBTA terms. You've got it as a hold somewhere in the course of this. When we finish, you can ask him a question. All right.
Awesome.
So as Bastion has turned around, Jedman had this kind of pleasant scene of seeing the activity going on, and Bastion has turned around, and I believe you said you were going downstairs to find your brothers.
Yeah, or upstairs, as the case may be.
Right. Probably it is upstairs.
Yeah, let's say the secret technology, or not technology, secret mechanics lab is actually in the attic, so it has access to lightning storms and stuff.
That sounds wonderful.
So yeah,
y'all are heading down, and I'm guessing we're going to Aris. See you heading back. You've had this game with your brother, and you are leaving him having dangled the carrot before him. Are you heading back to your room, or are you heading somewhere else?
I think I would be. Yeah, I'm heading up to my room to gather my traveling cloak and such. I was planning on leaving the house.
Okay. So you kind of, the three of you sort of meet together in the hall.
Bastion?
Do you? Yeah.
Aris, good evening. I was thinking perhaps it is time for the three of us to talk. But I see you are heading out. Maybe we should do this discussion over breakfast in the morning.
No, I have time. Nothing pressing. You've been busy yourself. So
yes, I have. I have
catch
much
you
to
while you're here.
discuss. So, shall we adjourn to the study?
Whatever suits you.
As you head down the stairs, gentlemen, are you staying with them?
Yeah. I'll be. Maybe I'll take a shortcut to the study and like start preparing stuff and cleaning up
Have
the
fruit tray prepared.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tertius, curiosity has gotten the better of you, did I hear? Are you heading
certainly.
down the stairs?
Of course, I certainly can't help it. I think on my way, though, I might keep an eye out for any, curiosities or anything of worth or interest that I find while I'm heading down and trying to find this room that Eris hinted about.
Why don't we have you then roll us a roll on the old curiosity chart? I do love the curiosity chart. That's 4 die, read left to right.
All right. We've got a 4, 3, 2, 6.
4, 3, 2, 6. Oh, wow. Y'all will pay off all your debts pretty soon with all the crap you're finding in the
have any
house.
problems.
Well, I mean, that's if I don't hold on to these inscrutable criminal maps.
Yes. As you're going through here, you do see a scroll case, basically, that has been wedged kind of into the wall next to where these stairs have let off on a jetty. You can see the water going down, and there's the long passageway, this main passageway. As you open it up, it is a map that shows all the old canal connections, all of these that have now dropped off most maps, lost.
I was beginning to
smuggler's dream.
I was beginning to worry that Edlund had lost anything that might be of use to a rascal such as myself, but this is exactly what I would have hoped to find.
And as you get to this jetty and are kind of walking along, it smells, but you're a man who's been in unpleasant places before. It's certainly better than the sewers. And you're kind of stomping along, looking through this. There are some passages that lead off this main one. But as you are heading down a hallway, you begin to hear a woman singing. A beautiful voice. Do you approach or do you move away from it?
Oh, I'm definitely approaching. I'm a little bit wary. I've got my hand on my I'll draw my sword in case I need it, because I don't know what this is down here, and I'm at least wary enough, but I will be going towards whatever this is.
If I could put a name or a song that's on it, if you ever saw Hocus Pocus, this is that Sarah Jessica Parker, "Come little children, wherever you are." But it's sweet and lilting as you move down this hallway. And as you grow closer, you come to this door. This enormous metal door with all of these etchings on it. And you hear a voice. Tertius. Sweet, sweet Tertius.
And I remember that name that I heard before, that Satara that somebody mentioned, because I don't think this is Lady Wyeth back here. I don't think this is where she's been. I think I gotta let curiosity get the better of me and ease open this door if I can open it.
As you reach up to touch the door, kind of staticky electric jolt comes to you, and you feel this warmth, and you can hear in your ears, it sounds like the ocean. Sweet Tertius, you fly so far. I envy you. I would go with you, Tertius. I would give you such company if you were the Lord Scurlock.
Who are you? What are you?
I I am a lady of water, a lady of the sea. I am a lady that would travel with you, see such sights. And you could feel that warmth kind of glowing, growing around you. And it almost feels like there's an embrace. For a moment, you can see in your mind's eye this beautiful face, these blue eyes, this white platinum hair. I would bring you such happiness, Tertius, Lord Tertius, the Lord Scurlock.
All right. I feel pretty good about that vision, about that feeling. If anything, if I got anything left that I can muster here, I'll ask him. Is there anything that I could do to help, achieve that title for both of us?
Come, my lord, find the key. The servant has the key.
The servant has the key. Jedmund. Okay.
Come to me, Tertius. And that voice sort of fades out, but that warmth comes to one very strong heat kiss on your cheek.
All right.
As the other three of you are in the study. Actually, let me, Tertius, what will you do having had this encounter? Are you going to continue exploring here, or are you going to leave? You do feel a little giddy. I think he walked off. Okay, then I'll get back to you three in the study.
Okay, so Tertius did not join us, right? All right.
Yeah.
I would like to discuss with you several things. I have been following up on information I have gained from direct access to Father's memories, as well as clues and evidences I have encountered in the days since my return to the castle, or to the key, or to the manor. I visited the orphanage today to ensure that the next delivery of an appropriate young woman should happen on schedule. Jasmine, you know how to prepare the subject for the ritual. I intend to ensure that...
Hold on.
Yeah, let's see how these folks react.
What are you talking about? You intend to continue to take women? What are you going to do with them?
It's not what I'm going to do with them. It's what you're going to do with them. Why are these women of concern? They are simply urchins. Were it not for this benefit we do for them, they would have no life.
You're talking like a sorcerer.
I do not
Yes,
understand.
it's true. Power has cost, but
also benefit.
Do
you understand what it is that happens to these young women in this process?
I have no idea.
Well, I understand the process. I do not understand the outcome for our side. I do not understand yet what we benefit from it, but I know that this is what our Father intended for us to pursue. I do know that these women, the reason they are in the state in which they are found is they experience in those last 30 minutes of their life such euphoria because they're actually experiencing an entire life of pleasantries in their own mind leading up to their expiration. If these women were to be left alone in the orphanage, they would have very little to look forward to. However, our Father would ensure that they lived a full life, even if only in their own head, for the span of a short period in our world. So I fail to see what the concern is here in this matter, but I do see the value in what our father is trying to accomplish. My goal is to protect this family and ensure the legacy.
Jedmund, you're hearing this. What are you thinking? Do you have anything to say?
At the same time as I'm talking, I actually pull out one of those trinkets that goes with the book from a compartment in my body, and I'm kind of flipping it around in my hand, and I'm watching for Aris's reaction to that when he notices it. But I am listening for Jedmund.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll get to you seeing that, Aris, Jedmund.
Yeah. So I don't think Jedmund was expecting this conversation to like go this direction super fast. But now that it has, he's gonna say like, okay, like you guys are here. I can speak to you both at once. Like I personally witnessed your father, going down this path, and trust me, like it leads to badness. Like no matter, it leads to badness for the women he took, and it brought him no happiness, and it ruined him. It transformed, the man that I was young with and had such good times with into something very different. So it's all getting on the table here, but just trust this old man when he says that you don't want to walk this path.
Aris, you're hearing this, and of course you've heard the kind of craziness of the murder bot. You also are seeing that thing that he's holding, and it glows with arcane power.
Yeah,
and you recognize its imprint from the book.
I'd like to add to that. With my arcane sight, I suppose I'd see everything in the room. So if he's got more trinkets, I see all those inside his little compartment.
Yes,
I see the ring glowing. I see this new etheric upgrade that he's added to his eyepiece. I'm going to act completely flabbergasted, act like it's completely out of the question that we're going to continue taking orphans and kill them.
Oh my, no.
So first to Jedmund, I'll say, we know what you did for Father was difficult. We're grateful that you were loyal to him. However, I think what needs to be discussed is not how we're going to continue to destroy this house piece by piece, orphan by orphan. I think what needs to be discussed is who's going to lead this house without destroying it.
Well, I think that is clear. You, dear brother, have the greatest interest in the mysteries of the metaphysical world and learning and seeking out knowledge. Our younger brother is tied to the wild blue. He has no interest in sitting a throne or attending council sessions. You also, I would find these things tedious. I, however, can represent the family in this manner, yet not be tied to ego. I can follow what is best for the family as deemed best by the family.
Then certainly you would know that what's best for the family is to have a person in charge of this family.
You feel that I am not a person? I who was born from our father's own mind?
People don't whir and hiss and emit steam. People feel. People understand that orphans, even if they are the lowliest of humankind, have value. Jedmund, you must agree.
On this,
My brother, if that is what we're to call him, cannot be the Lord Scurlock.
As you say that phrase, Tertius, you have felt this kiss. Did you stay down here, or did you leave here?
I think when it happened, I dashed out of there. Although I was temporarily seduced by it, I as I got closer, I realized this must be some trick on the part of Eris, especially since he pointed me right down here. He must be playing some kind of sick joke on me, and I was determined not to fall for it. So as it descended on me, I hustled out of there before I could fall for whatever trap he's concocted down here.
All right, so as you had come back up to the top of the stairs and had slid back the bookshelf, you could hear from just another room or so over the last of that conversation. Basically Bastion declaiming himself as the logical choice to be the Lord Scurlock, and Aris saying very much, I don't think so. But that, and that sort of catches you. You're like, holy crap, that's what they're talking about. But it suddenly is less important compared to the four figures you see pass the hall heading up the stairs. They are wearing what looks to be like leather armor. They are armed and they are masked.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is call out to the three behind me. There are intruders in this house headed upstairs. Actually, that would reveal... I'll dash in as though I hadn't been listening in and quickly be like, there's intruders, and then immediately dash after those figures. I've got my sword drawn. I'm ready to probably kick some ass before I take any names.
We all follow the synchronized step. I mean,
Yeah.
all differences are immediately put aside and pursue the individuals.
All right, so Bastion following along behind you. Aris, are you... your brother has burst in to say the house has invaders. You follow along behind?
So I got up to 10 at our last scene, and I'm gonna take etheric travel.
Ooh.
And I'd like to use that, and so my arcane sight, not only does it just show me the magical things nearby, but I can kind of use it to look through. And so I'm going to observe where these intruders are and try and surprise them. So I'm not going to fall behind, but yeah, I'm joining in.
Jedmund, you've heard this. What are you doing? The old instincts probably have some kicking in. It's been a while since you were a soldier, but those things die hard.
Yeah, Jedmund, he grumbles something about too old for this shit, and then he throws his cane aside, and he starts following the others up the stairs.
All right. The three of you come to the bottom of the stairs as you can see those four figures heading up. There's been enough noise that they turn around. They look like they're masked, but you get the impression that they wish that you hadn't have saw them and noticed them. But they do draw out short blades, about like that long, big Bowie knife type blades. And one of them says, "You don't want any trouble. Let us do our job."
I step forward, full imposing, my arms and gears wearing out. Drop your weapons and surrender, or you will be harmed.
Before they can react to that, I'm dashing forward with my sword to engage them all head on.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to take time to ask them questions until I've trounced them in combat. And if anybody wants to help out, they're welcome to lend a hand. But I'm not gonna negotiate to give them a chance to run off.
All right, Tertius, why don't you're charging right up to the first one. So before there's much else to do, there is you going ahead and being able to hack right in, build up a pool for your attack.
Outcast, Survivor, 2 for Fighter, 1 for Blades. I don't have the jump on them, unfortunately, so I can't do Stealth. I do have Tough. And I think because I brought everybody, I kind of regret bringing everybody now because I think that it would have been more fun to go solo to get Stealth and Underdog. But I'll take the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dice.
There you go. Wish to add anything in from your pool?
I guess I'll ask first. Is anybody gonna lend a hand as I charge in?
Ooh, that's a good thought. Yeah, anybody adding dice to help him out here?
No, what I'm gonna do is not gonna help him charge up the stairs now.
All right, Jedmund, are you as you see the young lord dashing forward into battle? Is there something you'd like to help with him there, or you have your own actions? What would you like to do? Would you add a die into that?
I'm going to take my own actions. I'm just trying to think of how I could help him. Maybe Jedmund's like trying to converse with these people, like trying to distract them a little bit.
Like kind of you and Bastion are doing that?
Yeah, like just trying to be like, almost like pretending that he's like friendly with them and like greeting them and like trying to like, just throw them off so that he can get in.
Yeah, I got two of them kind of help me get the jump on them because it looks like we're going to negotiate, but really I charge right in.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
If you wish to help him, then take that'll be 1 die from your pool. You can just like drag it up there.
Yep.
And Michael can then use it to roll in. Are you throwing in? Do you feel like Bastion is helping at this point? Are you throwing him a die?
I am not actually helping him. I'm actually doing a parallel action. My goal is I'm going to grapple the leader of the group, but I'll wait for him to complete his roll first.
All right. So you're getting a die coming in from Jedmund. Are you adding any of your own?
Yeah, I've got 1 in there, and I'll roll those first before I add in the other 6. So reroll selected. That's 2 for the good. Then we've got 3, 4 total. Nice.
Excellent. That's a great success. So you run forward and you've got this guy. Would you like to describe your blow? What do you do to this guy?
I'm not chopping his head clean off, but I'll be like taking enough of a gash out of his neck that there's going to be a spray of blood that sprays the 3 guys as well as myself, probably.
All right. So he's clearly out of commission. The other 3 have got their swords ready as behind them, Tertius, you're the only one who sees because they're all focused down towards the bottom. Suddenly appears your brother, Aris. Aris, what are you doing from behind and a bit above them?
I'm going to light them all on fire, basically. So I've appeared through my ethereal step, and now I'm going to kind of hover a few feet off the ground. It's terrifying. My eyes glow a little bit, and I shoot forth just like a flamethrower, trying to tag as many of them as I can.
All right. Build up your pool there. Sounds like sorcerer.
Yeah, so I've got sorcerer, arcane adept, attack, create, because I'm creating the flame. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
And then radiant flame, and then fly. So I think that gives me 7.
It does. You wish to add anything in?
I think 7 will be enough to toast some of them.
All right. If anybody wished to add in, they could. How'd you do?
Let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a nice roll.
Oh my, that's excellent. And Tertius, seeing him in full form, describe, Eris, what this looks like. What color are these mystic flames of yours?
So they're kind of greenish along the edges, but purple, purple on the inside. And and they're smokeless, so it adds to the eeriness of it. And as it hits the first one, it completely envelops him, and then it just jumps, just passes through him.
As he is just, I mean, almost instantly crumbles into dust. The other two have caught on fire. One of them is, beating him, trying to put it out to very little avail. The other has decided the smart thing, and he's running. He's running straight down the stairs towards you, Jedman, and towards you, Bastion. Bastion, you were saying that you were preparing to
grapple.
Grab one.
Yeah, so that the one that's running towards me, I'm going to use my powerful, or it'd be Clockwork Body, powerful leap and grapple. I want to contain him for questioning.
All right. So
always
that's
the
coming off
reasonable one.
So I guess I need to clear these guys. Or these all get cleared off?
Yeah, I'll clear them off.
Okay. So I get one for Clockwork Body and one for each of the tags, or just for the tags?
Let's see. You get one for Clockwork Body, one for Automaton, and then you start stacking on your other things.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Actually, I can do maneuver, leap, and grapple.
Yep.
So
Let's
powerful.
see.
So that'd be 1,
Powerful,
2,
which gives you 2.
3 for maneuver. Let's see. So actually, automation and Clockwork Body, that's 2. Powerful's 3. Maneuver is 4. Leap is 5, and grapple is 6.
Yes, but that powerful's in italics, so it counts as 2 instead of 1.
Oh, so 7.
Yes.
So 7. And I'm also going to throw in one of my pool. So
Okay,
that'll give me a total of 8. 8d6.
Excellent.
Or it'll be 7d6 plus the 1d6. So
Plus that one there. So you
I'm
can roll
gonna-
those
I'm
and then re-roll that.
I'm
that
going
one
to
from
roll
your-
selected, which is a 1. Yay. And then roll submit 7. Oh, crud.
Oh,
I only got a 2 successes, which is not good.
well, it is quite literally good.
Oh, good.
That is its definition of a 2,
All right.
but not great.
All right. So he is contained, but he's probably on fire a bit.
Okay, so he's burning. You kind of grabbed hold of him.
Okay. Actually,
He's
can I describe?
Yeah.
A bit. Okay. So Bastion, it goes into full artillery mode. His huge mechanical legs spring forward. He flies up the steps. His 2 sets of mechanical arms envelop this guy and pin him to the ground just as the flames sort of encompass both of us. So I shield him from the damage of the fire, contain him, but I take damage. How does that
okay.
So I get burned to some extent. So
Okay,
I will take on a tag of
Damaged. All right. As you've grabbed this guy, the arcane flames around you, Jedman, you see Bastion has grabbed this guy, but is now kind of on fire. We see another guy who's on fire and kind of trying to beat the flames out.
Another one
was yes. What's that?
The guy is beating the flames out. I'm hitting him too.
So he's got a lot of help, we'll say. And the other one has just been evaporated, turned to dust by the fire of Eris. Aris.
Okay. So
What would you like to do?
So there's 2 people left, and one's engaged with Terrace and one with Bastion. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think Jedman is going to like charge in like a young man, just with his fists, and he's gonna start boxing like he used to in the old days.
You going after the one that is with Tertius, or are you going after the one that Bastion is holding?
Well, Let's go with the one that Bastion's holding. I feel like that was closer to me in my mind's eye.
All right, so you're coming over there and slugging him. So let's see.
So-
Build your pool.
So I got 1 for steadfast, veteran, soldiers 2, pugilist is another 2.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe bodyguard, maybe not. Probably not
you-
bodyguard. 1, 2.
I don't
Probably
think the
not.
bodyguard's going to work on this one.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So that'll give me 6.
All right. Do you wish to add anything?
No, I think I'll just go with the 6.
All righty, sir.
That will give me 1, 2, 3, 4 hits.
You come over there as you could see Bastion is kind of, this flame is intense, and while he's got this guy held, you could see that it's like has probably melted a little something here, and it's caused him damage. So you come over, and this guy who's struggling in his arms, you clock him out. To give you a bit of a description for you to say it here. What do you say? What is the war cry of Jedman as he comes in and does this?
Something about like, I don't know.
Take that, you young whippersnapper.
Yeah, something like that. I guess my train of thought was like something like proper or like etiquette-y, like, didn't anyone ever tell you like to knock before you come in? Or
Oh, that's good. All right, you come over and clobber him one. He passes out. Tertius, with your help, he is no longer as concerned about being on fire, as you have slashed through, and between the flames and your gentle assistance, he's down for the count. Are you going to deliver the killing blow?
No, I want to keep him alive for now.
Aris, you've sent this flame out, and you could see Bastion has been caught on flames by it. The other guy has collapsed, and he's still smoking, and you're kind of, in full cool mage pose, I suppose, holding these flames upon them, doing them. What do you do? How do you react? What do you say?
I am going to. So I'll descend back to the ground. The flames all kind of fade, and I'm going to draw. I don't have my sword on my hip, but I do have a knife with me, and I'm going to approach the one that Tertius is standing over, and I'm going to attempt to deliver the killing blow to him. You
strike down. Heart, eye, where you hit him?
Throat. Yeah.
Blood flows as the Scurlock boys and their faithful servant have really quickly dispatched this team that has invaded your house. And as there's smoking ruins and an unconscious guy on the smoking chassis of Bastion, Jedman, as you've punched him, you kind of pull the mask aside, and you see the face underneath. It is a goblin, but you can see where there are brand marks on his face, and you recognize that you, Jedman, would know this enough about the city, that this is a member of the Eel gang.
Damn eels.
And we're going
not
to...
Cudgers.
Yeah, not Cudgers, boys. Not Cudgers, boys.
Although I think this is still Cudger's responsibility.
It is indeed. And I will... Well, he should have been protecting you. We're going to stop there. I think we got through some cool things. So let's see. Did we turn any of our keys in this last set of scenes? We had the conversation between the three of you. We had down there coming back up with Tertius, and then the fight scene. Anybody felt like they turned something there?
So I definitely followed the Dark Legacy down to the demon below.
I think so too.
And I would also push the key of the outcast. I kind of wish that I'd pushed it even further by going in alone without calling on these guys, but I was suspicious of them enough that I wasn't going to negotiate. So I went head on against them. I do kind of wish I'd gone in alone.
I see that. And would either Bastion or Jedman be someone that, as the opposite of what you were doing, that you'd want to give one to?
Yeah, I would give that to Bastion on that. And I would also, because Aris pushed me towards the Dark Legacy, I would give him the point for that one as well.
All right, cool. Let's see. Aris, did you feel like you turned any keys?
I'd like to buy off one of my keys. Key of refinement.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, I think he's sufficiently abandoned that. I don't think either of the other.
I think that's
neat with this though.
So you've kind of put aside that being the effete lord, and you realize you got to get your hands dirty.
Yeah, with delivering the killing blow, and fighting with Bastion and smoking for the first time.
All right. Anybody in particular you feel like in the course of that you could hand off an XP to, or you think that was, since it was that whole process was really more you?
I think it was too big of an arc to really pin it on one person's help.
All right. So you have cleared a key. That's a 2-point XP. And you have the ability to pick up another key. They suggest you never have more than 3. 4 at the way at, well, you should never have more than 4. 4 is kind of an outlier. You should never have more than 2.
Okay. So I'll pick one for the next session then.
All right. Excellent. Aston.
I'm pretty sure I hit Dark Legacy with my rather clumsy attempt at convincing my brother to follow in the footsteps, and at the same time nailed Key of the Machine. I was actually planning on being a whole lot more subtle with this whole plan of this, but I just thought, you know what? It doesn't make sense for Bastion. He's going to go up there and get in the face and.
I agree with you. Do you see where either one of those keys or both that someone helped? On
Dark Legacy, I'm going to give that one to Jedman because, I was really, parlaying off of his experience there and what he had done in the past. And
I'll say that there's a beautiful kind of paradox from the scene before where we had Jedman looking there and going, "Oh, the good times."
Yeah. And then the Key of the Machine, I'm giving that one to you because the whole Aris, the whole sorry, looking at your face. You were the big on the screen. Aris, because the whole thing about that was just completely misunderstanding what his brother's thoughts and reactions are going to be, because to Bastion, Aris is going to be the one that wants to get in there and do this magic and discover these secrets and not give a crap about politics and all that sort of thing. I'm not surprised, but Bastion was really surprised that, the reaction.
Cool.
So, I think that makes sense.
So that's 2.
That's 2
for
me.
Aris.
Yeah. So one for Aris and one for Jen. I'll have to work something in for man, what's the other brother? I got to remember these names. Curious. In the next session, I haven't been able to give you one yet, I don't think. So.
All right, and Jedman, feel like any keys got turned there? I think there's some.
Yeah, the new path. I was definitely. Jedman was trying his hardest to try to talk reason into these foolish boys.
Excellent. Excellent. Anybody in particular you feel like that would hand off to, or you think it was a little too group effort to hand one off?
Yeah, it was kind of the three of us. We were all
Okay.
kind of feeding off each other. So
there's one there. Don't think of the key of servitude.
no, not really.
Okay.
No, I think just that
All
one.
right. Then, so everyone has got your XP from that scene. We're going to stop here at the right after the fight. I thought this was fun. I hope you guys had fun. We're certainly delving into a whole lot of dark secrets here about the Scurlocks.
Just for sake of argument here, I do not condone the murder of orphans personally.
You personally. We're glad to hear it, Robert.
But as a robot.
Yeah, Bastion doesn't understand morality, so.
You made that very clear.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back again in 2 weeks, and then our 4th session will be the week afterwards.
Okay.
So we have a week off, then we'll do 2 in a row.
Oh, great.
All right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, thank y'all for playing. I had a blast. It's great playing with you guys.
It was wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to stop the broadcast.